Rigid brought you the world's first patented curved light bar. Now, it just got smaller, slimmer, and smarter with the Rigid RDS SR Series Pro. This compact single-row light bar conforms to modern looks and projects more lighting to get you further, boasting a compact design, gentle curve, and the same proven rigid quality. The RDS SR Series Pro is a new, sleek, and sophisticated way to own the night.
Welcome, people of the world, to Fishgistics live from Baja HQ. My name is Cameron Steele, and my co-host today is none other than Ryan Arciero, two-time overall winner of the Baja 1000. Is that right? Is that a good stat or is that a bad stat?
Three times,
okay,
and unfortunately,
I don't care.
I missed the overall. So don't hold that over my head.
I just don't care. Two-time overall. My stat was correct, but he is a three-time winner. Correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Ryan, congratulations, coming off a second place finish at the San Felipe 250, which is what we're going to be talking about today. We're looking forward to a little bit of jousting. As you can see right here in our first shot, we have the Race Desert Chaos, the Matlocks, and Chase Warren here, a Class 10 driver. And we're looking forward to that. We actually just had to, Kristen had to separate them outside of Baja HQ here. Yeah. They were at each other's necks. There was violence. Jesse came running by, freaked out. He couldn't believe what was going on. AJ came cruising in, no big deal. So we have the Joneses here. So you know that. We have Toby Price here. I know we have Ricky. Brabec is here. Shelby Reid is here.
We got a stacked crowd today.
Tell me how Dan McMillin's here and he didn't get fourth in the race.
Isn't it amazing?
That's
we'll talk about it. He had second in his hands, and
he still does. They gave him a trophy here today.
They did,
actually.
I think maybe he brought it for me though, so it gave me second and Dan third.
We'll talk more about that for sure, because he's a certified cheater, obviously. And Brad Wilson is in the house, and he's here to talk a little bit about the Class 1 race. And Dan, I'm just kidding, right? You're not sensitive today, right? We're good. We can have a little bit of fun. Dan has been giving me a hard time because he passed me at San Felipe like I was standing still. It was a little bit embarrassing, but well done, Dan McMillin. I'm willing to suck it up. When it's my turn to take the lumps, I'll take them.
He's on fire.
He has been doing really good. In fact, I'm just going to say it right here. He might be better than Luke. Oh, man, can you imagine Luke listening to this right now? Wow. Can you imagine? Dan, how would that be going over right now? Look at the smile on Dan's face.
It wouldn't matter. I'm stronger than him, but...
The comment is it wouldn't matter. He's stronger than him. We'll talk to Dan McMillin a little bit later, but we're going to have a few fun segments. Of course, Fishgistics this time around brought to you by Rigid Industries and KMC Wheels. Support the people that support the sport. And we're going to get kicked off. Let's talk a little bit, Ryan, about San Felipe, because leading into the race, of course, there was a lot of talk about the San Felipe 350, and geez, they didn't really make it easy, did they? I mean, they threw all the big guns right at us.
You know, I thought last year's race, I'm like, man, you know, the 309 or 310, what do we end up with last year? I'm like, man, after doing that race, the toughest race I've done, you know, and we had this talk at the start line. It's like we seem to be saying that every single race, and you know, Rob Mack said something at San Felipe. Maybe we need to stop saying that, because I think they're trying to challenge us more and more every race. And this year, boom, 350 miles, and I tell you what, the last 50 were probably the worst of the whole race with the dreaded.
Can you imagine? I mean, the zoo road whoops or everything from El Chinero South.
Yep.
Can you imagine if you were in a Class 11 car?
Oh my God. I mean, my hat's off to those guys. Those are the heroes of that race. Absolutely. No question about it.
There's no doubt that every trophy truck driver appreciates what the limited cars go through. 11s, 1600s, 1600s. I mean, when we're out there pounding the whoops, every once in a while I think about, wow, I remember when I used to race a 1600 car. Pretty punk rock.
Or how the heck are they getting through? And I know we're going to talk about it with Matomi. I mean, I was thinking about that. Every time I'd pre-run, I'd get out and I'd walk it just to make sure I had my line right. And every time I walked it, my first thought was the Class 11s. I'm like, there's not a chance in hell that they're going to be able to get through that. And I tell you what, with a little bit of help with some of them, they get right through it. And they just keep motoring. I mean, those guys are animals. They're animals.
Nice segue. Ryan Arciero, you got it going on, man. If we were going to have a personality dropping segues and having fun like that, we were going to have a heck of a show. So, Matomi Wash is a hot topic. Welcome to the show. Kristen Matlock, winner of the non-turbo class.
Right, naturally
correct?
Aspirated.
Oh, sorry, naturally aspirated. You can correct me, it's fine.
It is non-turbo.
I'm used to being corrected all the time. Wayne Matlock, winner of the non-naturally aspirated or turbo class.
Or we could just call it turbo.
Okay. And Chase, Warren, Class 10, how did you end up finishing in the race?
We ended up second.
Ended up second. Okay, so of course there's a lot of talk, if you haven't seen the thread on Race Desert, RDC, there's a lot of talk about Matomi. And so we're going to talk about sportsmanship. We're going to talk about the camaraderie of desert racing, the spirit of it. We're also going to talk about the fact that you're there to win the race. So I don't know if Ryan and I will dive right into this, but first, let's get both sides of the story. Chase, if you wouldn't mind, we know you raced Class 10. You've been racing for 3 years in 10, a couple years before that motocross. Give us a little bit about yourself and tell us a little bit about what happened in Matomi Wash and why you were so hot on the internet.
Yeah, well, we came off.
If hot's the right way to say it. I mean, I could
I mean, I don't think I was too upset. I was real upset at the time when it was happening, and there was nothing we could do about it while it was going down. But we came off back-to-back wins at Parker and the Mint. We were like third to last in the draw, so we knew we were going to have some dust early on out of San Felipe. And we knew going through Matomi there's going to be a bottleneck. With that many trucks starting in front of us and 10 cars, somebody's
the truck guys' names.
Somebody's bound to get
Here we
stuck.
go. Now,
I see where it's going right away.
Already
So
off
anyways-
to a good start there, Chase.
We made some good passes going down there. We got into Matomi, and sure enough, it was bottled up. And
A trophy truck, right?
honestly, I don't know who it was. I mean, we were there.
You're going to give it to him when you can.
We're not even
Was it the
here.
number 2 or the...
So, we were sitting there waiting. I mean, it got to the point where we had some friends down in the wash helping out, and they said, you're not going anywhere. Shut the cars off. We're going to be sitting for a while. So we did that. Everybody had been lining up in the order that we got there, knowing that there was a single section, a couple squeezes ahead that if somebody's stuck in it, there is no going around for us. So we took our turn. We waited.
Did you stay in the car?
We stayed in the car. Yeah, we had a couple other guys that got out and came and talked to us, and friends that were racing the same class, and they kind of went out and assessed it too. And there was nothing we could do. We were sitting.
So you're not out there sunbathing with your helmet off or anything like that. You're in the car
No,
ready
we were
to
sitting
go.
in the car ready to go.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just setting
We
the
didn't-
stage here.
Yeah.
Drawing the picture for the fans at home.
So we start seeing cars piling up behind us. We see UTVs coming in behind some of the 10 cars. And, we started pretty far back and made some passes, but there were still only a couple 10 cars that were behind us and in between us. And then you started seeing co-drivers and whatnot getting out and going up from UTVs and looking. And we could see they were kind of jockeying for position to try to start getting around us. And knowing that there was only one line, we stopped and we told them, hey, you go by right now, there's not going to be any respect when we have to catch you back because we're all waiting to get through this the same way everybody else was.
Did he start down the gauntlet? I like it.
Obviously, nobody listened to us, and they started going, and there was a trophy truck that was actually 2 cars ahead of us, and he was just behind a squeeze that he was letting people go through. So eventually, when he got moved up, us and the other 10 cars did what we could to block it off, and no more cars could get by us then. But
So UTVs went around using the 4-wheel drive on an alternate line where you were at.
we were right at the entrance where it's a bit of a squeeze, but it's not
Where
in
the
the
first
spots
set of
that
the
we're gonna
rocks
get.
are, or before
Not
the narrows
Before
are.
that, yeah.
Now, just for those who haven't seen it and haven't seen the video, the narrows. When you come into the narrows, a full size buggy or a full size, obviously, trophy truck. That's all you're going to be able to squeeze through there. You're not going to be able to get 2 large vehicles side by side in that where it opens up to the actual rock crawling that we're going to do next.
Yeah.
So just kind of setting the stage right there. So a full size vehicle, only one at a time is going to be able to go through there.
Once again,
Yeah.
with plenty of self-abuse, I did get stuck in Matomi Wash during pre-running. I just want you guys to know I feel bad about it. Go ahead and carry on.
Yeah, so I mean, you could probably there's some spots you may be able to fit 2 10 cars or a spec truck or something like that, but nobody wanted to step out of line because we were going to get stuck. We didn't want to risk the spot. We were stopping in good spots so we knew we'd have traction going forward. Try to not clog
So
it
you
up.
made a smart decision. You parked where you could get going again.
Yeah.
You're waiting your turn, courteous, so to speak.
Yeah.
Okay. So you won a couple races. You've been around the sport for a little while, and you felt like, to summarize what's happening on Race Desert, that the UTV should not have gone around everybody because at the end of the line where the problem was, there was a 1-line hole
Yeah,
for
there's
one vehicle.
There's
That's
at least those 2.
Okay.
If you got through one, you're still waiting in line to get to the next one. And that race day, we had some discussion about this. Pre-running, there may have been some alternate lines that 4-wheel drive cars could get through, but race day, there was a lot of traffic in there, and they blocked it off, so it was one way through. So we were upset because why should we be waiting for all these cars to squeeze in to get in line ahead to wait in the same thing that we're going to go through?
And Chase, I'll tell you, I value what you're saying, and I appreciate it. And I don't think you're wrong. And there's a lot of different ways to skin the cat. So I appreciate your opinion, or we all do, because everybody's got their own take, and I appreciate that, patience of desert racing and all that. But I also appreciate where Wayne's probably going to come from here with lots of experience. Give us your rundown on it, Wayne. I mean, I understand, you can see spaces to go around. Maybe you can't see what's happening up ahead.
Correct. First off, I definitely respect Chase's opinion and his take on things. Because if I was in his car sitting there for that long, I'd be pissed too. But my take on it is we're racing a different class. Like you, I started in the rear, but I chose a rear start. So we made a lot of passes to get up to that point, but I still wasn't in first. There was cars when we got there. My co-driver was already unbuckling because he had a handheld radio in his hand, and he was going to run up there, push, pull, do whatever he could to get cars and things moving because we weren't the first UTV, and I needed to catch that first UTV.
So you guys came prepared to be able to make those moves. You walk the line. You have a handheld radio, so your navigator can navigate you from outside the vehicle.
And part of it too is right around and different. I'll give my opinion after you guys say your piece and what I would have done.
Can't wait to see if we agree, Ryan.
I know, so do I. But if the guy in front of you is going to be able to make his way through, it's almost forcing your hand to do the same thing.
Correct.
So now
I've been stuck in that
off.
situation
Yeah.
before where I waited at a bottleneck, and my competition decided not to. I came into that bottleneck in first, left that bottleneck in 10th, 45 minutes behind.
To be fair to you, you were not the first one through.
No.
I mean, he was.
I think that's the
There's a
problem.
whole
As soon as
pack of
one
cars.
person does it, you have to follow them, or you're going to be that. Like
Yeah.
you just said, you're now 10th
Yeah,
when you were
'Cause
first.
there's no penalty to it, so
Yeah.
No.
that score imposes. So you cannot. I mean, you're 55 miles into a race. You're not going to be putting yourself at a 45-minute deficit out. You're done.
Right. I mean, in a full disclosure, had I been able to pass the first place guy in there, I would have kept going. I wouldn't have stopped. So when we pulled up to this whole bottleneck situation, my co-driver was starting to unbuckle, and I grabbed him, pulling him back in the car because there was guys standing outside of their car in Class 10s, maybe some 516s.
The 516s were ahead of you as well?
They started in front of us.
Okay.
So
516, 1600.
No, it goes trophy truck, and then the legends are in there,
Trophy
and
truck
then
spec. Class
the
one.
one cars, trophy truck spec, class 10, then 516s.
Five.
They even throw the sevens
Five.
in there.
Not 516. Five.
Fives or whatever there. Yeah. So they start quite a few in front of us, even though we catch them and pass them. The majority of our class does not.
Right.
So we
Well,
started.
there's quite a weight disparity too. I'm sure
There
that's
is.
taken
It's a
into
safety
consideration.
thing and everything else. So we got to the bottleneck, and guys were waving us around. So I pulled my co-driver back in. Granted, I doubt everyone was waving us around. Clearly not.
Maybe with one finger.
But I do like how you tried to steer it on Race Desert that everybody's waving you around. I like that.
No, I said not everyone.
Disclaimer: everything we say is
lot of
not
people.
necessarily true or factual here on Fishgistics. We're just having a good time. This is for entertainment purposes only. This is for fun. Do not get too serious out there.
So, I took the go-ahead from a couple guys that were good, and then we actually had people move their cars out of the way in that narrow spot so we could get by. So in that narrow spot, some of the cars moved over, and we went through. And then after that narrow spot, when we got to the actual course, there was that Unimog that was up in there, that big black.
Lawrence is
Yeah, that thing was up in there. There was a bunch of vehicles up in there.
Were there vehicles parked in lines that you think you could have used? Just out of
Definitely.
curiosity.
There was. But there was also lines that I pre-ran and walked that there was no one in except for spectators standing there. When I got to the actual area where the obstacle was, that area was clear because the buggy was sitting and there was guys pushing the buggy, trying to get the buggy going. It was stuck in the sand. So I was in four-wheel drive going through the soft sand slowly. I was in low range. And then when I got to the area where the obstacle was, there was no one there. So I shot right up the obstacle, and the same thing for the next two obstacles. I had lines to go around those, but I didn't need them.
I think we have the kind of the outline of. Would you characterize yourself, Wayne, as? I don't think aggressive is the word to use, but would you characterize yourself as someone who's a go-getter in the race car, or would you consider yourself more a passive racer?
Oh, definitely not passive.
I guess that's not the right word either, but you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
No, my thing is, if you don't make something happen, someone else will. And I see your point of view. I would see it a lot more if I was in a Class 10 car. Like, if another Class 10 car got out of line and cut in line, being that all of them had to wait. But I had options being a nimble, small four-wheel drive
Chase,
vehicle.
same question to you. Would you characterize yourself as more of an aggressive driver? Would you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, and to be fair to the UTVs as well, from what I heard, a Class 10 tried to do the same thing. And he pulled out of line, and it ended up, supposedly, this is all hearsay, I didn't see it myself,
Sure.
but supposedly it was the guy that ended up winning. He went to try to cut around the bottleneck, and the next 10 cars in front drove out and T-boned him. And then, apparently he still got around, and then another spec truck tried to do the same thing, and they couldn't stop him either. And
Well,
he
first,
ended
let
up
us say that we were just joking. They weren't at each other's throats outside. That was just fun and games. You can see that we're having a civil conversation here. I'm going to ask Ryan to weigh in, but first of all, I wanted to say, Chase, I think it's really honorable that you would make a statement. You know, I mean, obviously Wayne's someone who's been around the sport a long time,
Yeah.
and I think we need people that are willing to say stuff. I mean, it doesn't have to be overly aggressive or whatever, but I think good conversation is good for the sport.
Absolutely.
And you're entitled to your opinion.
100%.
absolutely.
And like I said, I appreciate your opinion, and I don't disagree with you, and I appreciate Wayne's opinion, and I don't disagree with him. It's kind of a weird place to be.
It is.
And I thought about this. I read the thread again yesterday I read it, and I was trying to decipher what would I do in that position. You know,
We have a video that shows the spot. Let me turn it on real quick. So
All right,
you
let's
can
see. Let's
you
see
guys
what
are
it looks
talking
like.
about.
See, I think the biggest problem is we can either have respect for all the other classes and
Oh, rocks flying.
somewhat wait your turn, or we can all try to do that. I mean, there's only a certain level that makes that work.
So this is a 1-lane spot right here. So if somebody gets
This is
stuck
the
right
spot
here,
that I got
everybody
stuck
has to
in
wait.
pre-running.
This, right there, see where that king flag is? If you back the video up, I had a line that ran over that king flag.
Back there.
No.
It's to the left. I actually used that line.
He used it when we were pre-running.
Yeah.
And Mark Post was stuck right there where that truck is. Unfortunately, Abdali had gone through and knocked a huge rock, which blocked Mark. And Wayne, as gracious as he was, found the line around and rock crawled around, got in front of Mark, and we hooked the toe strap to this huge boulder. I mean, it was half the size of this table, and that damn UTV pulled that frickin' thing. It took you 4 tries, but you pulled that thing right out. But I was amazed even prior to that, just how nimble the UTV was to get around on that line, and I knew you knew it.
Yeah. And, going to that, had I not known that there was several lines up there that I could have gone either way on, because I literally thought in my mind that someone was stuck and there's no one up there to pull them, and there's just 20 Mexicans pushing them.
Yeah.
And so I fully expected to take one of those lines, knowing it was going to take me longer than going on the race course. So the race course was clear, but when I got there, the line was open and the buggy was stuck in the sand.
Kristen, how'd it look when you got there?
Well, it was kind of what you described. Everyone was kind of moved over whenever I got up there. And
Did you also go by cars there?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, we run the same race frequency.
Yeah, so he's telling you
You had
what's
a bit of
going
an
on.
advantage there.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Come up to
Well,
the front.
I was just listening to him. I'm like, apparently he's getting through this. So I'm like, Wayne, can I get through? He's like, well, you can get up here. So, of course.
Of course, you went for it.
Yeah. Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you ended up winning the race. You won the race. You were second in the race. So I think probably a little bit of the feelings are partially because you didn't win. And was that the reason?
I would have been upset either way.
Either way.
I don't think that necessarily cost us the win. When we left Matomi, we were down 30 minutes. We sat there for 45 minutes, and like I said, those guys, they didn't have some of the stuck traffic that we did that started up front. We were actually down almost an hour on the leader.
No, that's what you just said right there. So this is another aspect to this. So when all the UTVs go by you, now you have to repass all those UTVs. So now you're in the dust of a bunch of cars that really wouldn't have been in front of you that are slowing you down to get around them.
So we're whipping this point quite a bit, which I think
Yeah.
is good because it's a solid topic. I'm going to ask for the room's opinion here in a second. Would you do anything different than what you did?
No.
Would you?
Absolutely not.
What about you? Would you?
I would probably risk getting stuck and pull out in front of him.
So you would go out and try to go around the cars, or you would just try
No,
to
no,
block?
no.
You would block.
I would block people
Yeah.
from going around. Yeah.
Okay.
And I
interesting.
get your point of view, and I respect it. It's one of those things. I can't be responsible for every UTV.
Yeah.
I've got my race to win. My sponsors are paying us to win, and
Sure.
we have to do what we have to do.
Is it fair to say you guys are all good? There's no stress. And
Oh,
you guys
absolutely,
are going to
yeah.
be friends.
Yeah.
And we're
Did
all
you at
gonna-
least let them know you're playing through?
Yeah.
I was hoping someone was going to laugh at that comment.
The thing of it is we're competitors. I mean,
Do you wanna
that's
weigh in
what-
on it
that's-
directly?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're there to win. We're there to win a race, and legally, I should say. And if I put myself in your guys' shoes, what would I have done? Chase, on your side, if I was in a Class 10 car, which that's where I got my start, and I know, and you guys have all said this already, yes, I would be pissed, and that's where Cameron said, you kind of have two sides of this whole thing. I would be pissed because now I'm just trying to get through this as quick as I can. I can't go anywhere. This sucks. These guys are going around me, and I got to figure out how to get by them. Now I put Wayne's hat on. I would have done exactly what Wayne did, regardless if I was first or 15th. Knowing I have a vehicle that can go around this stuff, knowing what's in front of me, and I have multiple lines once I get there, I would have done that exact same thing.
Let me
found a way
pose
around
this
it.
question. I wouldn't disagree with anything you said. If you get there, let's say you start 5th in the trophy trucks. Rob Mac's stuck. 3 trucks are lined up. Do you go around those 3 trucks if you can?
If I can, yeah, without risking my
Without hurting anybody,
Yeah,
without being dangerous.
and here's the thing, and here's where a little bit of experience comes in too, because I've been in that position where I've tried to rush stuff, and it happened to me when I was racing Bob Gordon's Millennium car, his Cheneth, and it was at the Baja 500, and I was chasing down Rob Mack, and Rob was in the 4-wheel drive buggy, Riviera buggy at the time, and I caught him, and there was a big bottleneck. And I thought I was going to be Mr. Smartass, and I was going to get around these guys, no problems. I knew a way I was going to go around them. I ended up blowing reverse out of the buggy because I was too aggressive, too quick, and if I just stayed my course and stayed and had some patience behind me, I would have been able to get around him and everybody else just over the rise, and I didn't. And it didn't end our race. We finished, but we finished way down. So you gotta have some patience too, and understand that. Okay, if I'm gonna pull out, okay, do I want to end my race right now because it could potentially end my race, or do I just have a little bit more patience? And I said it's hard to say because you need to be in that position and you need to see where your mindset is. But with age and with experience comes a little bit more patience on what you need to do and not need to do. So and we're all guilty of it too, even with experience. So I agree.
I think it might be worth mentioning too. So when I went through the last obstacle, there was a buggy stuck, and I pushed him through with my bumper.
Yeah, you have the 4-wheel drive.
the 4-wheel drive. And so it's just 2 different vehicles.
So in theory, you were going in there to make sure you could clear the area for everybody else.
Clearly, yeah.
No, you're going to clear it for me.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you.
So
Well, that was nice of you to do for your wife.
So Cameron, put yourself now you're in a Class 10 car and you're in a UTV. What would you do?
It would be hard to say I would have a different feeling from either one of them, to be honest with you. It's really tough, and I was going to pose it to the room. How many of you guys are good with what Matlocks did or the UTVs did in Matomi Wash? Raise your hand if you think you're good with that. Looking around the room. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Almost unanimous in the room, and we're talking about Toby Price, Dan McMillin, Jesse Jones. We've got Brabec in there. We got AJ in there. We've got Shelby, Reid, Brad Wilson. So for me, I think when you pose a question directly to me, the first thing I would think about is safety because I overthink that stuff quite a bit. If it was clear and safe and easy to see, it's hard to say what I would do at that moment. But sitting here right this second, I would almost feel like I would do it. I would wait, but I know when you get there, I've been there.
Yeah.
I've gone around a huge line of people before. Granted, I was in a trophy truck. We changed the transmission. We're going up on the summit. All these guys are stopped, and we just drove around on the side of the hill.
See, but
Little
how
bit
is that
different.
any different?
Yeah,
It's not. It's really not. It's not.
See, but I would say it is
because we're in a truck that's capable.
Not in your class?
I'm saying it because we knew there was one line, and even if your line was where you said it is in that video, that's after the first 2 squeeze points.
I had lines around those squeeze points. I pulled the first truck out. In order to pull him out, I had to drive around him.
Yeah.
And I drove around to the right. There was no vehicles parked on the right.
For Wayne, I mean, I was there in pre-running and saw that there's no way I was going to get around in my pre-runner where that pre-runner was. But for him, it was easy to. You could have gone either side of it.
Well, yeah, and I had there was Mark Post guys were there, Herps were there, everyone was there, and they're all telling me there's no way you're going to drive there with your UTV. And I jumped in it, put it in 4-low, and drove around it.
It's pretty amazing what they do.
They
I'll tell
do,
you.
yeah. And I mean, honestly, it surprised the hell out of me. I didn't think I'd do it, but
on race day, it looked like there was a ton of like traffic in there, just like score and checkboard, all workers and everything. So I don't know if your lines were even open on race day.
The first one to the left was not. That's where that Unimog thing was parked.
Yeah.
But the one to the right was, and then the other two were far left up against the bank, and then I had the one where that King flag was.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're going to settle it on who's right, who's wrong. I mean, score obviously doesn't have rule against it. I think there's different ways to look at it, and I think everybody's got to be fair with each other's opinion. And
I think I'd smash him when I caught back up to him if it was me.
We didn't happen to catch either one of them. We were winning different lines or something. But
like I said, you put yourself in Chase's shoes, and when I was in class, and I would be pissed. I'd probably do the same thing. Fish is I would go hunt him down.
I was looking in my mirror. I was waiting for it.
Yeah.
But
we weren't gentle on the ones we did.
The horn is probably going to be broken by the time we catch back up.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
But the UTVs are getting faster too. I think only you and one other guy are the only 10 cars that beat me.
That's because you went around everybody when they were parked for
45 minutes.
Yeah, but the same thing happened at 1,000. We beat all the 10 cars, but we also went around them in the silks.
Yeah. The burning question, I think, though, is will Kristen beat Wayne at the Baja 500?
Ooh, that's a good question.
That's a good
question.
Kristen,
It's my turn.
Yeah.
This is how we did it last year. He got the overall at the San Felipe, and I took 500.
So I'd rather you take the 250, and I'll take the 500.
And I'll give you the 400, but I want the 1,000.
No, I like the 1,000.
No, I'm sorry.
So Chase, what are your plans now that we're getting to know you a little bit more? Are you racing the whole score season, or what's your plan?
We're points leaders in Best in Desert right now, so we're going to go do Silver State, and we're going to do the 500 after that.
Yeah, and you're second in score points.
Yeah, so we'll see where we land after that, and hopefully we do well at both and keep continuing.
Chase, it's the first time I met you. Well spoken, great results. Stoked to have you in the sport with us. Really awesome.
Happy to be here with you guys today.
Right on. Well done. And the Matlocks, of course, you guys are royalty when it comes to off-road racing.
Yeah.
A rich history with you, Wayne, in the sport, and it's cool to see the success you guys have had with the UTV. And man, UTV just continues to blow minds. I mean, whether it's the entries at the UTV World Championships, whether it's the entries at the Mint or the score races, it is just staggering how many vehicles we have out there. What's your take on where it's going? Is there gonna be a cutoff? Is there something that needs to change with the way it's going?
I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say it needs to change because it keeps growing, but I don't know what point it'll shut off. There's going to be a cap, when these things start getting as expensive as a 10 car or stuff like that.
Aren't they already?
The ones we're driving, but there's other ways to go. Like the ones I'm talking about, people are selling. Like Polaris is selling them. They're for what? Like that vehicle I drove around and towed the rock. That's stock suspension, stock everything, just with a cage and seats on it. And we're going to go race Nora with it, the same vehicle.
And it was impressive. I said, just sit there and just watch in Matomi in pre-running and just watch him do what he did with that thing. I have a UTV and I'm impressed. I'm impressed with it. But to watch what you did with that thing at Matomi in a stock condition was pretty freaking impressive.
Yeah, and
I was just stoked when I got to Matomi that there was no one there, and I just drove right through. It was no big deal. And I was worried about it because I got stuck pre-running, but a lot of rocks got moved from that first day I was out there. But I was sitting on that rock for about an hour. BJ came out and heckled me. There was a few of our buddies there. We had a little bit of fun. It's all good fun, but I wanted to say I thought that was interesting. Score ran us uphill at Matomi. I think that Jose G and the whole Score crew are putting some very interesting courses together, and I really appreciate the effort that they put in to bring new courses, new ideas, and different stuff going on. Not saying that one way is right or one way is not right, but I really have been enjoying the curveballs they've been throwing us with the extra mileage, some new sections like coming in at the end of San Felipe.
Right.
Who was going down the bumps pre-run and thinking, whoa, we got to go over there real quick.
Well, once you got to the dump, you're like, okay, I'm done with the bumps. Geez, and then we turn right and we're like, oh man, we're not done yet.
It just wouldn't end.
It just didn't stop.
It just wouldn't end. And I know in our cars, we were both having that conversation. I'm sure you too.
Yeah.
It's like
We were on a trophy truck. The same thing. You are hurting in those things.
Well, that race, we both did the whole Baja 1000. You drove the whole thing. After that race, the 350, I was way more sore than doing the whole Baja 1000.
You were sore.
Yeah,
I lost
she had
power
no power
steering
steering.
at mile 108.
You're an animal.
We're going to wrap this segment up. Chase, have a great race at the Silver State. You're leading the points in the Class 1000 in Best in the Desert and second in score. We look forward to seeing you at the next race. And you guys, hey, awesome work you guys have been doing. Looking forward to seeing more from you guys. And
Thank you.
Next race for you is Nora. So have a great time. Now remember, what happened to us, you should try not to let happen to you. We went to Nora to have a good time and got involved in a race. So
Is this your first Nora?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's
It
our
will become
first
a
time
race. It will
sharing
be.
driving duties too.
Oh,
so that should
boy.
be
Yeah.
fun.
Oh, boy.
It's a great race.
Yeah, luckily, we're not like in the same car together. Otherwise,
Yeah.
we'd probably need marriage counseling afterwards.
That's going to wrap up this first segment here of Fishgistics. Coming up next will be Brad Wilson and Shelby Reid, the top two finishers in Class 1. We're also going to have the winners from Trophy Truck Spec, AJ Jones, and his dad, Jesse, of course, who's a legend in the sport, who navigated for him the entire time, which
Crazy.
crazy
Jeez.
stuff right there. I'm just telling you that, Jesse's a madman a little bit, but hanging on to that passenger seat for 350 miles with your kid in a
bless
Trophy
him.
Truck Spec, woo-hee. We'll be right back. Thanks to KMC and Rigid Industries for bringing you Fishgistics here from Baja HQ. Next segment coming up in just a moment. Welcome back to Fishgistics Live from Baja HQ. We're continuing on with segment number 2 from the San Felipe 250 wrap-up. And it's kind of hard to say 250, Ryan, right? I mean, it's like...
You want to spit out 350. That's why in my interviews, I'm like, the San Felipe 250/350.
Your interview on Fishgistics post the race was awesome, what you said about Andy.
Oh,
Was that
my
you
God.
that made that
I
comment?
did. And
That was-
it is so, Dan can attest to this, it is so true. And we will say it, I'll say it later when Dan comes on, but it is true. And if you didn't listen to it, you'll hear it from me again.
So we're going to crank up this segment. The next segment, we're going to have Dan McMillin, Toby Price. We're going to have Ricky Brabec. And we might have Jesse Jones stay and moderate for us as well, because we're going to be talking to Ryan as well, who came with a great performance. But welcome, Trophy Truck Spec winners, AJ Jones, Austin Jones, and Jesse Jones, also known as 2J. Good job, you guys.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And Class 1 winner Brad Wilson and Shelby Reid, Class 1 runner-up. Unfortunately, you were the winner, originally crowned, but then there was a VCP penalty. Let's first, before we talk about it, let's talk Ryan really quick. Explain the VCPs for the people. Explain the distance and explain the theory behind it, the way we race in Baja.
Yeah, so we have VCP stands for virtual checkpoint, and SCORE throws out quite a few of them. I don't remember what our total number was for San Felipe. I think it was 80 something total, and they put them in strategic places around the race course. We need to come within 100 feet.
It's good to tell yourself 100 feet because I don't think that's the number.
Is it 100
but I'm
feet?
Not gonna
Is it
help.
100 feet?
I'm
What
not
is it?
helping you.
50 feet? Well, we had 200 feet at the one VCP before Diablo
silt
Drabec
beds,
in the
yeah.
silt bed. They
42, I think.
Is it 42? Yeah, they're
41 or
42.
I
That's
think
it.
it's
Okay.
42 or 43.
So we have to come within a certain distance of each one of the VCPs, and sometimes those change from race to race. But we have to hit those VCPs, every single one of them around the race course. If we do not hit those VCPs, a penalty is going to be imposed by SCORE on us, and SCORE tracks our trail, our line, to see how close we are to and from those VCPs. Now, with the Stella unit that we have in the race trucks, the Stella unit will actually beep when we do hit a VCP.
In theory.
And
Do we hit it?
I know.
Did we hit it? I didn't hear a beep.
And my co-driver will listen for it. But if we go back to our in-car, and you can hear it in the in-car camera, you can hear each one of them beeping as you hit it. So yeah, in theory, it should beep to show that you cleared the VCP. And I know it's for a lot of the racers out there, I saw the penalty, and there were a lot of guys that missed a lot of VCPs or didn't come within the window of hitting them.
So that's interesting the way you say that. We'll talk about that a little bit more because you're saying they didn't necessarily miss it; they just weren't within the window.
Exactly.
Do you characterize that as two different things?
I do, and Shelby and I we had this conversation a little bit ago too. Is they do give you a window within it. I mean, if you're clearly offline going some other different direction and purposely not hitting the VCP, that's one thing. But if you're within a couple feet of hitting it from their window, I think the intent is there. So and sometimes it's hard if you're in dust. You're driving blind trying to get to that VCP, especially if you're in the silt or you're chasing somebody down. I do like the VCPs. It keeps everybody honest at some point. It's not just free willy out there.
Yeah.
But it's important, and it's part of our rules that you do have to hit these VCPs.
Yeah, but you cannot turn around and go back to them, correct?
You cannot go backwards on the race course.
So one time, washes are open. I was in the Rendia wash using an alternate line. Came out and I was on the other side of 1,000 people, and the VCP was over there. I was like, well, I guess we're gonna miss that one, Cody. And we did, and I was like, out of safety, you can't do it. The wash is open.
Yeah.
Right? We didn't prepare for all those people to be there. We tried to contest it. We finished 15th, so it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
So I just let it go. But there's circumstances out there.
And I did the same thing at the 500. I didn't miss it, but I was on a different line. There were people there, and my navigator was on it, and he saw that the line we were on wasn't where the VCP was going to hit. Saw the VCP coming, so we turned hard right, went through the desert through the Tules, and ended up hitting it. And but it scared the crap out of me because I knew, man, we're going to miss it, and we're gonna have a big penalty. Exactly.
So Shelby, you missed by SCORE's account 2 VCPs, which is a 20-minute penalty, 10 minutes for each. What's your take? I mean, obviously VCPs are a part of the rules. You missed it, so you got the penalty. But were you within a certain range? Did you get that information? Were you close? And what's your overall vibe on it?
The first one we missed, Dell missed it. It was 43, so it was on the dry lake bed. Apparently, a lot of people missed that one. He doesn't remember. He doesn't think he missed it, but
You definitely had
you're
to
in
come
a
out of the
corner.
silt and stay wide to get to it.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
people know it's right at the entrance of Diablo, and when you come out of the silt, your normal trajectory is to sweep right and then hit the lake bed. In this case, you had to go to the VCP, make a 90-degree right, and then get on the lake bed. So it's driving wise, it's not natural.
So how far
Yes.
did you miss it by? Do you know?
That one, probably 50 feet. And I would say the 86 that I missed was maybe by 50 feet.
So, I mean, 50 feet is a considerable distance. It's part of the rules. But I agree with you. Like, the placement of that VCP, you had to be on point. Brad, would you agree? I mean, you raced the same race course. You hit all the VCPs, I'm assuming. But that one after the silt bed was a little bit tough placement.
Yeah, that was in the section Justin Munyon did. So I'm not completely aware of that one. I know he was saying the night before the race there were some VCPs he knew he had to make an actual, aggressive move to hit it, whereas typically you would just stay on the straight line. So it takes all things into account in that. But, like from my section, before that left turn heading down Zoo Road, there was 2 VCPs in that where typically you could be on a line to the right and it's outside of the really rough stuff. But, this year we didn't take it. We stayed on the course because of that reason. I don't think there's necessarily an advantage. It's just more trying to save your car, especially when you're at mile 320 of this race. So,
and it's not truly a shortcut where you're completely blowing a huge section of the race course off. The intent is I'm still going with the race flow, so to speak. So
all right, I got to ask Jesse, because Jesse's been doing this for a couple decades. What do you think, Jesse? I mean, I know that when we were younger, it was a lot looser, and now there are rules where, I mean, for the most part, everybody's really adhering to it. But I know there's some gray areas when there's a tight section for a VCP, and maybe it's not the natural way that you might want to go.
Yeah, so I think that maybe it would be helpful if they looked at where they're putting the VCPs and maybe put some more thought. We understand the intent of VCPs are to keep us on the race course that they want us on, or at least on the trail that they want us on. But I don't know.
Would you concur? Does everybody in the room concur that they think that score might be? Because the VCPs move from race to race, right? Even if you're in the same segment. Do we think that they're trying to keep us off of line so that line doesn't get as rough, maybe? Like they're trying to shift usage of different lines in different areas?
They're clearly trying to keep you on one.
Well, right.
Right.
So they're definitely trying to keep you maybe off or no, maybe not.
I don't know if they're thinking that far ahead.
But what we don't know is, and I don't know the inner workings of it, is that line owned by different property owners? Is it something else come into effect that we don't know about? That's like, okay, we got to stay off of that, or the government said don't go over there.
If you go back many years when SCORE first started using the VCPs, and all of us got dinged, well, I'm going to guess a huge amount of us. I did.
Yep, I did.
When we went alongside the property in San Vicente, SCORE was very deliberate. They had 5 VCPs in a straight line on that route. Some of these VCPs, I think, seem randomly placed in areas where we've raced a very wide race course for a long time. So it just begs the question of, like for instance, after El Chinero, there's a VCP far left. Everybody seems to want to stay far right, and I think people were missing that VCP. And I'm just wondering, is there a rhyme to why that VCP was placed way off to the left?
That's a great question. We need to get Jose G on the show at some point, because we would love to pick his brain.
He doesn't come up here.
Another problem with where they're putting the VCPs today, they're laying the VCPs right where all the crowd is, and so they're actually making it to where you have to pay more attention when you drive, or you could create kind of an unsafe situation, let's say.
Well, case in point is the San Felipe race last year, like when you came out to near 3 poles, and you made that left, and I think Rob McCachran and BJ both went into the crowd because they were pre-running that line and nobody was there.
They were behind the crowd. They were
behind the crowd, yep, and through easy ups. So
and they were trying, but they were. That's a very good example of them putting a VCP where that they don't realize is going to be a different way on race day.
Yeah.
AJ, what's your take on the VCPs? And to be clear, you guys had a momentary wait a minute, there was a VCP in question, but your tracker ended up verifying that you guys were there.
Yeah, we cleared everything up. Yeah. The score was really fair about it, and it was all good.
What's your take on the way the course is laid out?
I think obviously they need to be there so that we don't have people cutting off huge portions. Like, you need to respect the miles of the race, you know what I mean? So you have to respect the length of it, but at the same time, why do we pre-run? We go to pre-run to go find lines, and we go to pre-run to, find the fastest way around the racetrack. So, I don't know. I think that they need to be there, and I'm not sure. You need to have them there, and it's just good that everyone hits them. So, and the penalties, I think that they're just for it.
I got a question here.
Go.
And it's just a question. Do you think, all you guys opposed it too, do you think we need more VCPs or less?
Sometimes I think we need more, and sometimes we need less. That's my opinion. I think there's certain places that the VCPs can help direct the traffic, and especially in spectator areas.
Yep.
So if they're going to put one VCP to try to control the spectator, they could put 3. In theory, but maybe they're not thinking, like you said, 2 years ago, or when that happened, where people were outside that line. But I think, and I don't know if you guys agree. What do you guys think? More or less?
To go back to last year, if you were to put one 500 yards before that left turn that everyone was cutting in on, that would have avoided all of us taking that Highline Road. And, maybe put 3 there to make sure that you make that entire turn.
That corner's delineated. This is where you're going to be.
This is where you need to go. I mean, that's one way to do it. But I also like that there was some creativity they allowed us. You could tell they put a VCP, or I'd say around mile 300, where you came into a hard right turn. But it was noted that 4 lines came into that turn. So Score was letting us, before that, weave our way through this wash and
totally
make it to
agree
that
that Score is
VCP.
doing a great job letting us race.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that.
So there is some homework we can still do. They are taking away some of it, but maybe they're taking away the large chunks that are allowing some guys that are spending more time down there to cut off. I don't want to say cut off sections, but take a mile or 2 off here and there.
Well, talking about hitting VCPs and missing VCPs and finding ways to get back to VCPs. I do have to mention one thing, and because I thought it was genius, is there's a man to my left, Jesse. We had what they call Jesse's line.
There used to be a song called Jesse's Girl, but now it's called Jesse's Line.
And it was awesome. We have all the bumps that leave, kind of follow.
You're gonna tell everybody where it's at.
Well, it's gonna be. Everyone knows where it is now.
Anyway.
It is. I mean, it was so burned in. I saw you there on Friday, messing around with it, and we had already talked about it prior to that, so I kind of knew about it. But it was awesome. I want you to explain. Kind of why you decided to go over there, because I'm so glad you did and I'm thankful you did. But I thought it was great, and it was all about doing your homework and just finding a better way through stuff. And you, in your line, we had to get back to hit 2 VCPs in the process.
Right. Yeah. So we had it's the same strip of bumps that we've been running years and years, and it wears you out. And I knew that I was going to be riding with Austin, so we had to do something about that. So went over and we created another line. Maybe 50 meters off of the race course that kind of took those bumps out of play, because there were 2 VCPs on the original race line. We had to cut back in, pick them up, and then come back out.
How many people do you think missed those VCPs by going out there and just staying out there?
Hopefully a bunch, because I didn't cut in the...
We noticed
he
that.
didn't do that.
Until the last day. And then when we were driving along, I was telling Austin, okay, I'm watching, because we got to make sure we get it. And then... that was the most stressful part of that whole being on that whole line.
Just waiting for that VCP. Like, oh well, if we miss this, it's gonna look pretty dumb.
Yeah.
So I have to get this one.
I noticed. I think it was on that Friday when you were on that line. And I went around you. I noticed 2 yellow bags. Did you put those there? Where the turnoff point was to get back to the VCPs.
But I went back and picked them up.
Okay. But it's all. I said that line was genius. We've been running these same bumps, and it is. Even in a trophy truck spec, where we have all the suspension, and they're the baddest machines on the planet. It hurts. It sucks it out of you to stay at speed to those things. They're a good 4 foot tall, and it's one after another after another after another for. What, 20 miles, 15 miles?
We cut 7 off.
7, okay, so there's 7 there. So,
but it feels like 20.
For
sure, it feels like 20. It doesn't anymore, but it will by next week.
Yeah,
if you know what I'm saying.
For sure.
So, Brad, I got a question for you. Your dad, off-road racing legend, obviously your family legendary. Has your dad ever navigated for you in the race?
No, and he won't.
Let's pose the same question to Ryan. Has your dad ever navigated for you?
Not a chance in hell.
Okay, and my dad never navigated for me either. Now, we all took turns navigating for our dad, right? We all learned from the right seat. Now, Austin, how is it to have your old man in the truck with you? And, to be fair, he's a race car driver, and he's good at going fast, but being in that passenger seat's got to be a pretty good ride for him, and you must have a good time with it.
Yeah, we definitely had some fun. There's a couple times we butt heads a little bit.
You think?
Yeah, just to say the least. But that only lasts a couple miles, and then we snap back into it, and then we're having fun again.
You do realize you have control on that side, that you can put his side in the Choya, right?
Yeah, exactly. And
I think he realizes this also.
He did.
Yeah, there was a few, where they were perfectly squared up to the point where I could see good, but he was like, I can't tell you anything for a little bit because I got to pull this all out that you just put me through, and I was like, that's kind of the idea.
Yeah, I got the GPS over here too. Yeah, I'm good.
No worries. Yeah, just hang out. But it was good. It was really fun. Obviously, it's so special. It means a lot to me to win a race with my dad. Just race with him in an actual race is cool enough, but to win with him, it's crazy. I couldn't even really describe how it felt. So it was fun.
Did you guys have to change any tires? Did you have to get out and change a tire?
Oh no.
No. Okay.
So I knew in my head, I was like,
Would you do it if you had to?
Well,
Were you ready?
Yeah,
Were you
because I
ready?
had no choice.
It's either that or the day's over.
They don't even have a jack on the truck.
But
Austin, would you get out too, or you just have him get out?
I would have definitely jumped out.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
was there a plan?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, the plan was for me to get out and change the tire.
Our plan was
To drink water.
Yeah, exactly.
Why is it taking so
Yeah.
long?
Rev it up.
Yeah, he'd be in there yelling at you, Jesse. I mean, you've been around the sport a long time, Class 8 champion, winning in trophy trucks. You've done a lot. How does it stack up being in that passenger seat with your boy?
Yeah, that was really special, just getting to ride with him and just to share the experience down there. And it's just like, you can't imagine it. It was just completely emotional. If you look at me at the pictures after the race, I got one glove on, and the hat's cranked sideways. And I'm just it was real emotional, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Well, all week long, you were such a proud papa all week long talking about it, and I said I was impressed that you were going to sit right seat. Did he tell you what you needed to do the whole race? Like, I wouldn't do that way. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Go over here. Go there.
Yeah, there's
downshift, upshift.
Exactly. There's a lot of that, but I mean, I listen to him and I respect what he has to say. He's not just somebody that has no idea what he's talking about, you know. So he's definitely a little bit. Sometimes I think a little too much. I'm like, all right, you know, like that's a little bit too much information. But at the same time, it's good information that I feel like I should be hearing, even though I don't want to hear it. So
you make a great point, because the fact of the matter is you know, thank God for our dads, because like you said it a little bit ago, is how much we learned from them. You know, how much time and effort you put into your racing career, how much pre-running you've done. I mean, for me, I think you do more pre-running than anybody else that's out there. So with that comes so much knowledge and experience that you'd be foolish not to listen to what he had to say, even if he wasn't your dad, if he was willing to give you the information. But
He's still a hard-headed punk.
No, for sure, because we all know better. You know, when
He
you're a
definitely
kid, you know
knows.
better.
He knows better.
But I think that's awesome.
That's
for you guys.
okay for me to say that, right, Austin?
oh yeah, of course.
So I go back a bit with the Joneses, so I'm not scared. Shelby, I want to talk to you a little bit about like the ladies of off-road racing. It's expanded a bit. There's more women come to the races. I know my wife used to race all the time, and you and Kristen have had great success. Class 1 has been good to you. Are you having fun with it? I mean, where are you at with this? I mean, it seems like championship, winning races is all part of your deal.
I'd like to get another championship. It's getting close. I mean, I'm 51. Not that I want to tell everybody my age, but
Oh, you just did?
yeah, I
That's
just did.
awesome.
But you know, it's tough on the body, especially being a woman. So I'm hoping I got a couple more years to.
Have you thought about transcending into a different class? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, trophy truck, it's a little smoother.
Yeah,
Well, not only
that's what
trophy
they
truck, but
say.
I mean, trophy truck spec seems to be quite a bit smoother. I'm just curious because, you know, obviously you and the Wilsons have been really successful in Class 1. I just, you know, we've had Brad's dad out in our trophy truck and in our 7 truck having fun and stuff, but I just wondered if you ever considered it. Not that you should leave Class 1 because it's a great class. I'm just curious if you thought about it.
It'd probably be easier on the body in a trophy truck. The buggies they're a handful, but
But then you'd be a country clubber like the rest of us.
Yeah.
I'm a buggy dork. I like the buggies.
Buggy dork at heart.
And there's nothing wrong with that, because I mean,
sure.
Class 1 is a tough class.
For
You know,
sure.
it always has been, and you know, it's between Class 10 and me racing Class 1, and then making the transition to trophy truck. Class 1 was, I mean, I love my time in Class 1, and I learned so much, and I said, and Class 1 cars are no slouch. I mean, I'd say on a good day, a good Class 1 car can rival a lot of the trophy trucks. Now we had this conversation.
I
before.
disagree.
Well,
I disagree.
I didn't say all of them. I said a lot of them. Remember?
I like
So-
to pick on the
So,
buggy
but you look at the best in other races, and you see what they're doing. You
I
know
was
what the
making
Wilsons
faces.
have done, and the Parkhouses have done, and
I don't
and what the
disagree
Reids
with
have
you,
done.
but
So
I disagree with
they're,
you. How's that?
they're no, I know what you're saying. I'm not saying I think the days of the Class 1 cars winning the overall in races like San Felipe and in most of our races, I say that's gone. I think those days are gone. I really do.
You agree, Brad?
I agree. Yeah.
And you guys are on the 40s now, right? You guys have a whole new Jimco platform you guys are
Right.
racing.
Yeah.
That's
So,
pretty incredible.
We have a second one on the way, so we'll have 2 identical cars here.
Wow. And you team up with Justin Munyon,
Justin
San Clemente
Munyon.
guy,
Yeah.
friend of ours.
Yeah, so it's myself and Justin Munyon, and then my cousin Brian and Kyle Quinn in the new car. So, you know, they're developing that right now, and we have the second one on the way. But, you know, we hope that'll be kind of a game, you know, ultimately a game changer in
And
Class
the
1.
arms in the front are very similar to the trophy truck.
Very
correct?
similar to the trophy
So the
truck, yeah.
limitation is the rear travel.
Right.
More or less.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
And Shelby, you're still on the 37s, or did you go to the big tires also?
No, still on 37.
37s. What do you think about the one cars going to 40-inch tires? I know the Park House is there, and you're there. I don't know how many others. Is that something that you think is a good fit, or do you think the buggy should stay back on the 37? I know it's kind of a random question to throw out there, but
I think it's gonna for my type of car. I know the big car when that thing gets running, that thing's gonna be a monster, and I think it would tear the tranny apart if we try to put 40s.
Yeah, just like how we still have the 37s on ours.
With all the grip, right?
Car.
Yeah. Well, here's a question too: is do you guys think, and I know how I would answer is do you think they should put some limit restrictions on Class 1 in certain areas? I don't think so, because I think Class 1's always been unlimited. But I'd be curious to see what you guys think, what your opinion is. If you think should there be a tire size rule? Should they do anything more with Class 1 other than what they're doing now?
No, I think what they're doing now, it's a buggy. As long as we keep it buggy.
And really,
that's been, from the beginning, I've always, no more truggies in the Class 1. They're not the same animals, so even though it's an unlimited class, those two things are not the same.
Is it fair to say that 10 has become Class 1 light, or the limited Class 1?
Yep.
I mean, that looks like the way it's gone. They're on 37s now, right? Are they on 35 still?
No, I think they're 35.
They're on 35 still. 35's
Yeah.
Chase still here. But
Yeah.
man, they've sure come a long way.
Oh my God! From the days I raced a Beam Class 10 with an air-cooled engine, a little different today. And
Chase, what position did you guys finish overall?
Oh, I don't know.
So it's a hard race to compare it to, by the way.
It is.
I mean, we got beat by 3 spec trucks.
Yeah.
The spec trucks
we were behind whoever finished in third. Couldn't get around him in the really, really rough stuff.
Yeah.
He just kind of floated through it, and we were just sitting there trying to gather the car up the whole time. And once they get in front of you, it's hard to get back by him.
No, Jesse, is it just like a trophy truck, the spec truck, the suspension? I mean, it really feels the same size BFG, the 40-inch tire.
Yeah.
Just less power.
We were 92 down Zoo Road at the end. So, I mean, that's all you're going to do.
Yelling at him or closing your eyes?
Dude, I wasn't that stoked.
What are you going to say?
Come on, tell us.
Yeah, not stoked at all.
So epic.
No, and I was like, dude, where we are, like, in accordance to the end of this, right? Like, can you just shut up and wait till 10 more minutes?
I do know where we are.
Yeah, right next to the light poles, the power poles.
Yeah. So, no, got it done.
So for you guys, any of you guys going Silver State, or is everybody going to 500 next, or what's the next move for everybody?
I'm 500 next. So.
Yeah, 500.
500.
Right on.
Nora, Nora. They're out there testing right now, testing the old car,
they're
right?
out there in the 88 race co right now.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Isn't that awesome?
It's been great to see the progression. My Uncle Randy got it back from Australia about 2 years ago, so they've been putting some time in on it. We hired a guy from Wright Fabrication to help get that car together. We have a new mechanic, Chris Ramey, in our shop, along with Mike. They've been putting a lot of time and effort into it. Just went testing, got a text from my dad. Everything went great, and they're ready to go. So all 3 brothers are going to drive. Kind of cool to see Rick, who hasn't driven in a while, finally get back in the car. They're gonna have a blast down there.
That's what's awesome about that race. It's so cool. You're doing it with Mark, right?
Yeah. Are you
Perfect.
doing it?
I'm doing it with my dad.
Here we go again.
We're
Just like
ready
last
to go.
year.
Just like last year.
As of right now, we don't know what we're doing, but we're going trophy truck testing next week. I can tell you that.
Well, that's good.
So
you ready for the 500? Is the 500 your next one?
As of right now, but there's a slim window of a possibility that we could go to Nora. We did give away most of our rooms, but we kept a couple just in case. You know what I'm saying? We do have 3 paid entries, which is a whole nother kettle of fish to straighten out. But stoked to have all you guys on. Cool panel, cool talk. Was there hard feelings on the VCP penalty, Shelby? Or I mean,
no, at first, because you were way up here and then slap you down.
Well, do you think Score should check these trackers like immediately after the finish of the race? Because it is. You had a high, and all of a sudden the carpet got yanked underneath you.
I think they do start checking them, but it takes a while to get through every. I actually was talking to someone in the official semi there, and you can see them going through tracking data on the cars, but they actually, in some cases, they follow the line around the race course in some spots just to double verify.
Yeah,
it's not just a computer generated report, as far as I know.
Ultimately, hope they, wish they could. Because I've been on the flip side. I've been on Shelby's side before. Won Class 10 in 2013. Wake up the next morning and it's gone.
Yeah.
So, and it, on the flip side of our team kind of just packed up and headed home. We were happy with second. We didn't really celebrate too much. And then you wake up and you're at the border and, oh, maybe we won. So, you're ultimately happy with it. But, you wish you could have found out the night before, celebrate with your team a little bit, maybe stay around for the awards. But, I understand SCORE's got a big task to go through all, the speeding and the VCPs. So
overall, they've been doing a really solid job.
Yeah,
it cannot be easy. It really can. Even with the technology we got, we always want more. It's like why can't we have the results right?
I'm sure
right
if
here,
they
right
could.
now?
I'm
We
sure if
can't-
they could, they would.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure they hate to know. Yeah, as they're going through these, to say, ooh,
Yeah.
that person didn't win. This person didn't
Yeah.
win.
Are all of us bugging them? What's
Yeah.
going on? Are we okay? What's happening? So, because obviously the same thing happened with you guys.
Right. Yeah.
So where you just have this high and then low and high.
Yeah, it was a stressful day.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations,
Thank you.
AJ and Jesse, for your win in Trophy Truck Spec. Congratulations, Brad, on your and Justin and the Wilson team's win in Class 1. And Shelby, congratulations on the runner-up spot, but a great race.
Was
To
a
get
great
there
race.
first on time and, miss the VCPs by just a little bit shows us that you guys have the speed and you're right there. And, it wasn't something you were intentionally doing.
Yeah.
We understand that for sure.
Oh,
But
I'm glad Brad won, so that's.
Well, now we'll
If you're
start.
gonna lose, you're
I
gonna
don't know if you
lose,
saw
yeah.
the email from SCORE, but it looks like we're starting side by side for the 500.
I'm trying not to pay attention, but I am.
We'll go off the line together, and we'll.
Well, I said we're
we'll go
going
from
trophy
there.
truck testing. We're actually going to the Lucas track, and we're testing our short course setup because we're going to set the truck up for just the first mile of the race since we're starting side by side with Luke. And whatever happens after we go
that,
through the wall,
yeah.
that doesn't matter. As long as we can dominate him on the infield with
Then
our
you're good.
setup, it's all good.
They start the 500 side by side.
That's what he just said.
Yeah, it was on. It was.
I didn't say that.
Really, it was-
Does
I
anybody
didn't
have
see
an
it,
official
yeah.
word on that?
No, I didn't.
I never saw it. Is that true?
Do we have anything on that?
seen that yet.
Do you have any questions before we sign off this segment? You got any questions? No, you're not even reading. You're just talking smack over there.
Good. People were asking about the VCPs, but you just said the same thing.
Okay. Next segment, we're going to have Dan McMillin, super speedy as of late, finished second, third. I mean, he's been fast for a while, but now he's getting crazy
Next
now.
level.
Look, he's rolling his eyes at me back there. Hater. He's hating on me. We haven't got him up here yet. So we'll have Dan McMillin. We're going to have Toby Price, winner of the Dakar Rally on the motorbikes. I think we're going to have Ricky Brabec, who is here, and somewhere around here. And
He's in the bar.
and of course, Todd Tenbroek is in the house, expert shock tuner from SDG. We might get a little bit of chicken gallery from him, or what do they call it? Peanut gallery.
Peanut
from
gallery,
him.
yep.
And we'll keep Jesse around because Jesse can keep Toby straight and give him a hard time because he and Toby are good buds. But we'll be right back with the next and final segment of Fishgistics here from Baja HQ. Looking forward to having more fun. Congratulations, all you guys, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Cool, thanks, Cam.
Congratulations.
Good job, guys.
You too.
Good job.
Rigid brought you the world's first patented curved light bar. Now, it just got smaller, slimmer, and smarter with the Rigid RDS SR Series Pro. This compact single-row light bar conforms to modern looks and projects more lighting to get you further, boasting a compact design, gentle curve, and the same proven rigid quality. The RDS SR Series Pro is a new, sleek, and sophisticated way to own the night.
Basically, if anything happens, it's always the GPS guy's fault. We had a little incident 2 days ago when we were out giving some rides and ran out of talent.
Welcome back to Fishgistics, live from Baja HQ in San Juan Capistrano. We're here having a good time. We've had a couple of solid segments so far with great guests. We're going to continue on the tradition of fun. Ryan and myself hosting, and it looks like we've got quite the panel hanging out. I'm excited to have Todd Tenbroek here, but first of all, Dan McMillin.
Not so excited, I guess, to have you.
I'm excited.
I'm excited. You guys are sitting next to each other. Todd Tenbroek, expert shock tuner.
Yeah.
Hi, Todd.
Hi.
This guy won the Dakar Rally. Toby Price. This guy almost won the Dakar Rally. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. He was on a charge for it, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So Ricky Brabec is here from the Factory Honda team, and of course Toby Factory KTM Red Bull. I think it's pretty incredible just to see you guys sitting there because we all love you guys, and of course all of us Yanks are cheering for Ricky. But if Ricky can't win, we're stoked that you won. So congratulations on winning the Dakar Rally.
Yeah, it's vice versa. It's exactly the same. So it's it was a bit of a bummer to see him parked on the side of the track. And
did you stop and give him a high five on the way by?
I didn't know what I was planning to stop, but I knew that was like my day to kind of charge and push on. And it was like I definitely said a few foul language under the helmet. Like I saw him on the side of the track because Ricky was definitely put on a move and was moving for the whole week. So it was. But didn't pull over and give him a hug because he might have stole my bike and took off and tried to finish the race.
Can he take his bike? What happens if he takes his bike?
I think we both get fired. But then we both get fired, so we would have been both out of a job looking for a job then. So it's but then I probably would have been like trying to tow him or something at least get him there to the finish because it was it's a bummer to see. So it was cool to see Ricky up there and putting that move on.
For sure. We're going to talk a little bit more Dakar Rally in a minute, but how's the wrist, just out of curiosity? We know you had surgery, and it was something that was really bothering you at Dakar.
Yeah, it's it. I broke it the first week of December and basically had a quick surgery to put it all back together. So, I pretty much started the race with a broken wrist, and just basically it fell apart over the whole race. And pretty much, the doctor, once I got home, about 3 days later, I had the surgery, the second surgery to fix it back up and clean it all up. The doctor said I was probably about 2-3 days away from the wrist collapsing and giving way on us. And so they took a bone graft from my hip and packed it all in there and put another new screw into it. And just kind of got out of plaster and stuff now. And hopefully in another 2-3 weeks I might be able to start riding. So it's been a bit of a long wait, but it's been a good rest. It's been busy times, and we're happy to be getting back on the bike soon.
Well, for us Americans, congratulations, but I would say it'd be okay if you kind of had a cruise year this year, just, you don't have to get in a super hurry.
Yeah, exactly.
This next year, don't put so much pressure on Ricky.
He's putting the pressure on us, so it's like...
I don't know. Ricky, that had to be a shocker for you, man.
Yeah, but Toby raced with a broken wrist, and I think I witnessed him fly off a couple of sand drop-offs, so I knew that kind of had to hurt a little bit, but it was a bummer for me for sure.
They both have scars all over them. You can't see them, but you look like you fell in the knife section at Best Bath and Beyond or something.
You want to switch drives?
No. I like my cage. I like my cage.
Well, Toby, also a trophy truck racer. You'll be racing the Fink in your. Do they call it trophy truck in Australia?
It's basically our trophy truck class. So it's a 6100 chassis, but it's as big as you can go in Australia because we have restrictions at 6 litres, naturally aspirated, and to put that motor into a full size truck for that weight, it just wouldn't push it. So it's coming up soon. June long weekend, like June 9-10 is the race, and. So I'm heading home now to come over here, and I'll head back tonight and start prepping that thing to get it organised for the Fink.
What chassis is it?
It's a geyser truck. Yep. So it's basically it's a 2-3 year old truck. So it's fairly new. I think it's only done 3 races. I only race it once a year, so it's a expensive toy to have in the shed to race once a year. But it's once you get in the thing, it's a hell of a lot of fun, so it's good.
We're going to talk more Dakar and more motorcycles with you guys in just a second, but let's talk to Dan McMillin right now. Danny, Obviously, your family has a massive history in the sport. Corky, your grandfather, your dad, Mark, 5-time winner in Baja, at the Baja 1000, if I'm not mistaken. Your uncle Scott, one of probably the most respected drivers in the sport. And then there's this cousin and a brother, both pretty good, I guess.
Yep.
You know, they're okay. Yep. But now Dan McMillin is laying down the heat. And to be fair, you've been running in the top 5 for the last few years. Lots of solid runs, lots of great pre-running. But, dude, I'm telling you, lately you have been laying it down. What has changed, Dan?
I don't know. The trucks are living. They're taking it, Ryan. I mean, they're going up the whoops at 120 miles an hour, and they're coming back and they're driving into the trailer and driving off the trailer. So, and they've been doing it for a couple years. So I figured, well, this race I'm just going to go for it. And started in the back, 37th. Got through Matomi. I don't know what Matlock and Chase were doing. I drove right through it.
Yeah, same.
I had no problem.
I just charged and was behind you for a while and got around you, Cameron, not Ryan. Ryan was long gone. Yeah. And just started picking off guys and early. Guys were pulling off really early.
There was a lot of guys parked early.
I mean, really early. And so I just pushed hard and just made no mistakes. My tires were fantastic. I hit some huge rocks and didn't get a single flat.
That's crazy.
Never got out.
That's crazy.
So no downtime at all.
None.
Yeah.
And so you raced to second place on time, correct? And Ryan
Yeah.
to lay it out a little bit for you guys. Rob McCaffrey was first off the line. Ryan was second off the line. Abdali third, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Dan 37th off the line. Rob Mack parked, changing training somewhere in the
right on the highway. He made it to the highway and changed it at like 140.
140. Yeah.
So Ryan, you were first to the finish line, but did you know what was going on around you with Andy, Dan, or others?
No, I wish I did. I didn't. We were having some radio issues, and our MSAT wasn't working like it should as well. And so I really didn't get any information. We did our first pit at mile 155, 160 on the highway, and when I got around Rob, my goal was off the start. I'm gonna run until I get to the back of Rob's dust, which is pretty much with Rob was where you're gonna stay. You're not gonna get to his back bumper, and so if I can get to the tail end of his dust, I'm about 30 seconds off of him at that point, and I know I have him on time at that point. And just stay there, and just be patient. And so that was my goal.
Because he's won a lot of races, and if he's running a pretty good pace.
He's running a pace that's going to win the race. So and that's that was my goal. I stuck to it. Made sure I wasn't going to make any mistakes. No flat tires, no downtime, and I got within 10 seconds of him right when we dropped into Matomi, and then I got dusted out. I couldn't see, so I let him go. And I knew I didn't want to be
patience.
Patience. It goes back to the patience thing. So I let him go. Got back to my 32nd, and then I didn't want to be on his tail going through the rocks in Matomi. I just everyone was talking about having problems through there. I pre-run. I knew I was going to be able to be okay through there, but I just wanted to get through. I didn't want to lose a race there.
Let's not be a hot rod.
Yeah, let's not be a hot rod. And so once I got through Matomi, I picked up the pace again, and I kind of lost him a little bit. I got back to about a minute, and then reeled him back in, and then stayed right behind him again, and stayed with him all the way to where you enter Diablo, where the VCP 43 was that Shelby was talking about, and he stayed on the race course after the VCP, and I went far right, and I think he was having transmission problems at that point, and I drove around him. Once I got in front of him, that was easy. That was it. That's all he had. Rob. So I'm like, okay, great. We're first in the road. I'm not gonna have any dust. I'm gonna settle into a good pace that I know the truck will get to the finish line in. And we got to our pit, did our pit, took off, and I'm asking the guys, tell me what's going on. Tell me I don't know if I'm 30 seconds behind anybody, a minute, 2. I have no idea. So they told me, good, bad, or indifferent, all I can get on the radio is the next vehicle was 7 minutes back at that point after I went up the Go Trail. And I'm like, okay.
That's a pretty good gap.
So but I don't know who that is. I don't know who it is. I don't know what's going on. I just know that that's physical. Yeah. So I'm like, shit, okay. I wish I had more information. I was asking for
Abdali or something.
I know, exactly. So we go up and over the summit. My goal, getting over the summit, no flats. No flats. No, I'm not going to put a toe off. Nothing. get up and over the summit. Everything's great. The truck's running good. And we get to our next pit at 265, back to the highway again. And we're having, it took me forever to try to get a hold of those guys until we were almost on the pit. And I'm asking him, I said, tell me when I leave where I'm at, what's going on. I need to know. And the radio's not working. I can't get the information back. We do the pit, I take off. And I didn't know at that point, I didn't know we had pulled out this huge gap on everybody else. But yet again, I know you guys are way back there, and I know that you're on the clock. So I just said, screw it, I'll keep my pace going. I'm not getting any other information. What I'm doing is working for me right now. And every time I get to a part of the course where I could see backwards, I couldn't see any dust. So I'm like, okay, just keep doing what you're doing. Ended up getting at mile 295. I got a left rear flat. The truck stepped out on me and right next to a tree, and like an old dead tree, and it blew the rear tire out. Nothing the tire did wrong, and I'm like, crap. So I'll pull over, change it, get going again. I'm looking back, see nothing, and get going again. Get back into my pace again, and the only information I got was back to Bryce at about mile 305, 310. That Bryce was within a minute to 2 minutes of where I was at that point. I think that was false at that point too. I don't think my guys had a really good idea where we were, because they had.
They might have thought Bryce was Andy.
They might have thought Bryce was Andy. And because I know I didn't have anything on you, I didn't have anything on Andy, and I just heard very little on Bryce.
Mm-hmm.
Well, by that point, we're already, you're only 40 miles to the finish. So, and you're just you're straight on bumps. So unless you're really, poodle dicking it, you're not going to gain a whole lot of time. You're not going to lose a whole lot of time.
Nice.
And
quote you on that? That's good.
That's a good word. I like that.
I've heard that before.
I think the no qualifying made it tougher, and it made it better. Honestly, because it spread all the guys through the pack.
Yeah.
And I was at a few spots, and it's like, oh, there goes Ryan. Shit, 10 minutes. He's killing it. And then, somebody come through. Oh, no, he's down 30. And, I don't know.
They made it hard for the teams, for sure.
Because you had to post up and wait for splits.
Fast cars.
For sure. And my guys, they had to get to the next spot, so they can only stay there. The roving guys can only stay there
for so 45 minutes, because Bryce started 40th, and Johnson
and for the record, you're the
yeah.
only one that was started in the top 10 that finished in the top 5.
It was the attrition was amazing to me.
Yeah.
That blew me away.
Yeah.
So when we got to the finish line, I still didn't know, and I'm waiting there, and nobody's coming. I think Luke was the second one in, I think, or the third one in. I can't remember. I think it was Luke, and I'm like, okay, I think I know I got him on time. He wasn't that far behind us, but then they said, okay, you got to watch out for the BFG guys are telling me you got to watch out for Andy, Bryce is coming, and Dan, and I'm like, shit, how close is it? And they're like, well, it's within a minute or so. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I said, I wish I would have had this information a while back. This would have been great to know.
Yeah.
Because I could have adjusted my pace a little bit. I was about 80% pace, and I wanted to make sure I had a truck at the end, knowing how bad this race course really was. And I know a lot of guys are having transmission problems, overheating. So I just raced my race, and unfortunately, obviously, they kind of bit us on time, and this man here was coming.
You have the splits? Did you have the splits? You knew exactly what was going on?
Yeah. At what's the Highway 3, they said it was a minute and a half off of
Bryce or Andy?
Andy on corrected time. But then Bryce was behind me, and then Bryce went by, and they go, okay, you're third right now on time. Third on time.
Go.
And then so, and then the video of me passing Robbie, I just passed him going into 3 poles, and then I just laid it on all the way down to Zoo Road.
Yeah.
Doing about 120 over the bumps. Just
gripping tight.
Driving like a 16 car, bouncing everywhere. And just, and then I got to the finish, and they said, you're first or second. I said, oh, that's fantastic. It's not fourth. And so, and then they said Bryce broke like a mile back or 2 miles back. I'm like, okay, well, that's good. And then I got second behind that Andy guy, and then I got a speeding penalty off the start, which.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Did you? When you heard you had a speeding penalty, were you like, oh, I know exactly where I did it, or was it?
No, I thought I got it on the long 40-mile section. There's a lot of, I'm right on the chip at 60. I'm like, I might have hit 62, 61, 63, not intentionally, but it was actually in speed zone 1. I think I was going 25 in the 20. and just kind of brain farted.
So it
wasn't paying
was,
attention.
It was deserved.
Yeah, I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's almost like it's more anxiety to try to go to damn speed limit. You're sitting there watching that damn gauge nonstop, like the 40-mile section going up to Trinidad. You're sitting there staring at it. You're not taking that much of a break because you're like, man, shit, if I go 61, I'm going to get dinged. I got to go back. You go 60, you lock the throttle a little bit, and you're back down to 55. You're like, shit, okay, back on the throttle again, get back up to 60, and you're just fighting it.
You're always trying for the bikes because they don't have.
They don't.
Limiters, right? Speed limiters on the bike.
You're always trying to figure out the best system to base yourself off of.
Todd, you've been around this a long time,
Yeah.
obviously, tuning.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen a transition with Luke and Dan. I mean, but Danny specifically has really been putting it down.
For sure. I don't really know.
I don't know either.
It was impressive run.
He's
you
always
drive?
been consistent though. He's always been
one at a time. One at a time.
Did you drive any different than you have in the past? Have you found because I mean you said you've had these consistent fours and you're not going to
Ryan?
well yeah now we got
not anymore.
I got a third.
It was almost second.
He gave me my
it was almost
my note.
second, but I'll give it to Ryan.
But you did an incredible job, and you guys have really figured stuff out. You do your homework. You do a lot of testing.
We do a lot of testing.
Yeah.
We dedicate our summer to testing. We don't do Vegas to Reno, and we don't do any races in the summer. We just go down in the 100-degree weather and go test these trucks because if they can survive in the heat, they can survive. The 500 is a good test, but if they can survive in the heat, a couple thousand miles after a race, then we got a good truck for the Baja 1000 and whatnot. But we do a lot of testing. We do a lot of pre-running.
Yeah.
I think you guys always run into me. Cameron always runs into me pre-running. Conveniently, and but we pre-run a lot. Luke and I spend a lot of time down there, as so does Andy and all of us. I think all of us go down and pre-run. Todd comes down to pre-run sometimes.
There's some sneaking around,
and we're sneaking around. Park the trucks a mile away and go walking around, and then someone rolls up on you and cover's blown. But we spent.
We've actually spent some time hiding together, right, laying on the ground.
We did,
yeah.
From Menzies actually.
I've actually cut down bushes to hide trails for Team McMillin.
Yeah.
Couple hundred times.
Thank you for your service.
No problem.
Appreciate that.
That's what I do.
So we spent a lot of time in this race. I just was in the back, and I knew I had to push hard to catch up with Ryan and Rob and Abdali, and Luke was 8th. That's pretty much up in the front of this race, and I knew I had Bryce and Luke Johnson behind me, so I'm kind of in this pinch, and I had you as in front of me to help keep the pace on, and I just pushed hard and hit all my lines perfectly and hit the Jesse line. Thank you, Jesse, for making
beautiful,
that.
wasn't it?
Beautiful. It was beautiful.
Very,
Very nice.
Yeah.
But we hit all the VCPs and hit all our lines and just I hit a big rock before getting around you. I hit a huge rock, and I told Josh to watch the little tire sensor gauge and on the Motec, and he said, "No,
crazy.
it looks good." I said, "Well, this is going great. This is my race. If I can run this hard and get this lucky."
Yeah, that was a great pass.
This is a good.
I knew the
good
line
race.
was there. I just didn't go there, but I
there was a VCP there, so as soon as I hit it, I went left.
Where was this? Where was it at?
Right before you came into Morelia, where you used to cut the long outside corner going the other way. Well, they've marked that as the racetrack.
Yeah.
There was another piece over there.
Yeah.
And I just fell right out of the seat when I saw Tablo crashed. I slowed way down and I was looking over there, and Cody's like, pay attention. I was like, I don't know what I saw, but whatever it was just like kind of like really like, for some reason I was like creeping after that.
Yeah.
And there were some bikes mixed in, and I just like that. There was like this 15-mile segment of the race where I felt like I was great from the start to 80, and then from 125 to the finish.
I was shocked when your truck was bright yellow,
Yeah, you can see
and we were going on the course, and I'm like, I feel like you would have known that line.
We knew it was there,
and
for
we
sure.
just drove right.
Yeah,
drove
that's
right
exactly
around.
how it happened too.
But we had a great run going. We were hitting all our notes, and Josh did a fantastic job. And
yeah, I fell out of the
worked
seat
out.
there for about 30 miles, and
as soon as I got on Matomi, my anxiety, and then I'm like, let's go racing because I just want to get through the rocks.
My struggle was
actually
stuck in
no
there.
mistakes.
Yeah.
And
my struggle
drove
started
right
when we
through.
started hitting the bumps. We've been struggling with the steering in the truck, and it's something totally new to me. So I've really been having a hard time biting down and getting it sorted out. And I kind of came into the race a little flustered, and I knew I was going to be a little bit off the pace. No, I mean, not that that's why we got passed, but we were off pace, and I just felt so tight.
Well, there was someone right in front of you too. So you were in dust.
I was in blackout dust, and then I got to follow your dust through the silt beds. That was even more fun.
I think it was Lofton.
Yeah, Lofton was right there. Yeah. But anyway, great race, Danny. I mean,
Thank you.
super
Proud of
impressive.
you.
You guys
Yeah.
have been doing a great job, and Ryan with a great race as well. I mean, it's been cool because there's different manufacturer trucks, different theories, setups. I mean, it's been cool to see that it's very racy in the front of the pack right now. I mean, there's 15 qualified teams that have engineering, pitting, drivers, vehicles that are in the mix, and it's making it very fun.
The game's definitely stepped up in the last
sure.
few years.
You know, and it's amazing too. You look at with this 350-mile race, how close. I mean, was the top 5 within 5 minutes of each other, right?
When I got to the finish line, unofficially, I was 45 seconds behind Andy, and you were a minute
50 behind Andy. So that was first,
Okay,
second,
so
third.
exactly.
So 150 being
So
the
you're
first
70
three,
seconds.
and that should over that race
And
course.
then after that was Langley.
Langley, yeah.
It was about
Who
3
had
minutes.
a really good run, by the way.
Exactly.
Really good
Exactly.
run.
Working
Really
hard
good
at it.
run.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Kyle
yeah.
Jurgensen was at the finish line.
Yeah,
So
Kyle hauls
Very
me up.
fast.
Yeah,
He's
he
super
was
quick.
fast in the buggy
Yeah.
back in the day.
And then
They bolted
Luke
off.
was 5th, and
Luke was 5th. He lost the power steering pump, so they changed that, and then he made up a lot of time.
That's a good testament to exactly kind of where we were, because we finished 3 minutes off of Luke, and he changed power steering pump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we just had a hard time racing this particular
Once
race.
again, Luke was
He was flying.
He's not.
Yeah, he's
No,
getting some.
Luke is.
And then
I mean,
seventh, a
He's
shout
got
out
that
to
king-
Bobby
he's got the king of the
Picoy.
hammers
Yeah.
crash.
Yeah.
First ever,
Yeah, he did
first
good.
ever full season in trophy truck.
Yeah.
Bobby Picoy bringing the heat in 7th.
that was an awesome result for him.
Yeah, it's
Super
good.
impressive.
Real
Yeah,
good.
he's been doing a great job. He's won in the 6100, and he was top 10 in trophy truck in 2017 at 1000.
Yeah.
Did he have any issues?
He had some issue, but nothing major. They
Yeah.
had a extra 3 or 4 minutes they gave up that they had to stop and do something.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly what it
Yeah.
was. I think it had something to do with something on the rear of the truck, the fueling or something.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not totally positive.
But then we kind of go to the other line of the spectrum. At the end of the spectrum is your cousin, who
That guy.
and
He rolled it.
Yeah, he rolled it. Gets I don't know how many flat tires he got.
What was the quote you
And
had?
Andy truly has a golden horseshoe shoved up his ass. He really does. he could. I don't know anybody. I mean, I love the guy, and I don't think anybody else could do what he did, roll it, and then end up winning the damn race.
On his tires, and the
Yeah.
truck's still in good enough shape
And
to
it just
run
blow-
that pace.
it just blows the tire. They get out and change the
They took
tire.
the hood off, right? They went a little bit, then they
I
stopped.
don't
took the
know.
hood
I don't
off.
know.
I remember him telling me at the finish line that the hood kept on coming up afterwards, so they had to pull over and I don't know if someone else took it off for them or they pulled into a pit and someone pulled it off. But after the rollover, it was like, okay, we're okay, great, just change the tire. So it was pretty much a tire change, give or take, a little bit.
He had some issues, but Andy's got a switch that and Todd knows.
Yeah.
I've ridden with him before. When he turns it on, you can't catch him.
It was
And
amazing.
he had a couple flat tires.
Yeah.
Rolls it. Probably had a sandwich. And just almost had him though. We almost had
We
Ryan.
did. It's okay. We got the 500.
Soon.
Yeah.
Soon, Andrew.
He's
We
probably
are
watching.
coming for you.
So Ricky, what's going on with you? I know that you just coming off Sonora Rally, right? And had an injury there.
Yeah. Sonora Rally is a local rally that
It's ASO Rally though, correct?
maybe next year.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
My bad.
Maybe
Remember,
next year.
nothing that you hear on the show is true and factual. For a good time. We're here for a good time.
Maybe in the future.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a good rally. For me, it's local. I don't got to fly to Dubai and go race over there. But yeah, I had a crash on day 3, and didn't really think anything of it. When you crash on a motorcycle, you just you get up and you're sore for a couple days. But it's been like 3 weeks, and I finally had the time to get it checked out, and then I just went under the knife on Tuesday night, and I had a broken collarbone with some fragments like in the tendons. So, yeah, here I am just recovering and enjoying the show with you guys.
Yeah, it's great to have you. And so you two guys, I mean, let's really quickly, the Dakar moving to Saudi Arabia, if I'm not mistaken. They've announced that. What's your take on that for you guys? I mean, I think that the overwhelming consensus was the race in Africa was tougher from a logistics standpoint, real bivouacs, tent sleeping, even tougher on the food. And maybe South America was I don't want to say cushy, but more hotels, more catered food. So what do you think it's going to be like in Saudi Arabia? Is it going to be back to the roots of toughness? Is it going to be, and don't get me wrong, Dakar is tough no matter where it is. But the comparison maybe of where it's going and where it's been.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit tougher for us this year, the one coming up. So I think by the looks of it, it's going to go back to being like the sleeping in tents and everything. There's Saudi Arabia, there's no main highways, there's no roads, and you're not going to get a two-wheel drive little camper van through anywhere, or the buses and stuff that the teams take. So it's either going to switch back to like the big six-wheelers and maybe little campers on the back of those or something, but it comes back to that same thing, logistics nightmare. It's going to be a massive big setup and more equipment and everything to take. And not only that, there's like most of the field, there's probably, I think they say like 50 to 60% of the field was all coming from South America. So it's like, now what's the race going to be like with getting there? Are we going to lose 60% of the competitors? So is there going to be another boat coming from South America and a boat coming from Europe to then meet there and race? So it's it's up in the air. It's definitely going to be different. For me, I've only known Dakar as being in South America. I haven't done the real deal in Africa, but it's heading back that way a bit.
From what I said and what you're saying, I mean, what you guys do is the real deal. But I mean, we're just comparing back to old school times.
Yeah.
So no disrespect to what was in Central America. It's just now a change. And what kind of conditions are we looking at? I mean, you guys, your teams, I'm sure, have talked about it. You guys have had, I'm sure, conversations. Is it going to be hot? Is it going to be cold? Is it going to be lots of sand dunes or
sand?
More? Oh, so Austin.
Well, I was on Facebook a little bit ago, and Scott Whitney, he's like a rally guru. He's already got a lot of information, and he's saying it's going to be a lot of sand, a lot of rocks, and a lot of canyons. Kind of, I don't know. We were in Peru this year, and only Peru, and we had a lot of canyons and a lot of sand and a lot of rocks.
Yeah.
But back to like the old days when the Dakar was like original Dakar, when it was 2-3 weeks long. I mean, yeah, like back then it was, I think, more or less like an adventure, where now, I mean, as you guys see on TV, we're sprinting, we're sprinting from 4 a.m. to 4 p.m. We're doing everything we can to go as fast as we can the whole stage, where like, I think the adventure of it being in Africa had left once they went to South America, and the organization's already trying to slow us down. And I don't know. I mean, they're trying really hard to slow us down on the bikes.
I have a question. Do you guys think that, I'm sure you won't miss this, but are we going to see the end of these giant transfer stages on the pavement? If there's not a ton of highway in Saudi Arabia, one could surmise that we won't have these 200K or whatever they are transfers.
Yeah, it might mean we don't have to get up at 3-4 o'clock in the morning now. It might be
better.
Yeah, better to wake up at 7 and you basically just roll
to the start,
500 meters straight to the start and go into the day, and we actually get longer distance in stage times now. So
more adventure.
Yeah, going to be more adventure. It's it's definitely, no matter what, any day of the week, it's an adventure. It's whether you make the finish line first or you're there last. It's been a tough challenge and hard work, and like you say, the pace we run now, it's it's out of control. Like, you're going into all these stages completely blind. Like, it's not like you're here in Baja and you get to go and pre-run and know what's coming up and make your notes and make another
same in Australia, right? You can pre-run.
Yeah, so same in Australia. For the Fink race, I can pre-run there. So my motorcycle there is registered, so I can pre-run the track as much as I like. So you still need to be registered, like on a vehicle on the road. But for us, we can't register like pre-runners or.
And they've cut your notes down. They've cut your notes down as well, did they not? This last Dakar is like what you can do, like when you get the road book prior to the next day.
Yeah,
you can't modify it. So, or you could in the past. You can go there, and I know a lot of the big teams in the past they had map guys. That would get those, be able to go through satellite imagery, figure out where you're going, and get all this homework done.
They busted people this year. Right?
Yeah, there was. Yeah, it was up and down. Like it's he got the time back and everything, so it was. It's strange. It was literally 3 months later that the time got given back. But what happens is that you get the road book, and this year we weren't allowed to make any modifications to it. Whereas before,
you can still put your colors on it.
We can do all the colors and stuff and do everything like that, but we can't write additional notes, like what's not in the road book. So we do. All the teams have map men, and they look. We all look at the screen and work out where it's going.
Yeah,
and
like if
there could be one ravine that's like
right
a little bit to the right here, and We know it's going to might look a bit smoother, but yeah, then there's just an added extra danger to doing that. You don't know what is exactly down that track. So it's like when you're trying to do 100 to 150 kilometers an hour, some things jump up on you quick. But yeah, so you're not allowed to cut the road book and stuff now and add extra notes or anything like that. So it's basically all just colours, and they're now looking at starting to try and just give us the road book pre-coloured and done, and they hand it to you in the morning of the actual stage. So they're trying a lot of ways to slow it down. But
Do you like that or dislike that?
I like to look through the road book myself a little bit and scroll through and see what's kind of coming
get your
up.
eyes on it.
Just
That's
get
your
your
pre-run.
eyes on. That's kind of like our pre-run. Like we get to know.
That's their Google Earth.
Yeah, that's our Google. I can't remember what I ate for breakfast, so I sometimes don't know why I do it. But it's like it's like a comfort thing, and it makes you think, you're on top of it and know what's coming up. But
there is a couple hours that goes into that road book every day. I mean, when you get that road book the night before, you're cutting into your sleep and stuff. I mean,
yeah.
So there's a lot of effort there, time wise too. If they're proposing to give it to you pre-colored, obviously everybody has their own style of marking it. I guess everybody would have to become accustomed to. It's just like I've raced a couple navigation rallies here in Baja, much smaller, but I can get a sense of the guy that built the road book on the segment, right?
Yeah.
And you can start, and if it feels like the same guy, you can start to get a sense of how important the dangers are, where the turns are, or whatever, and so that would take a lot of that out of that if you can't see that, like a pre-run, like you're saying. You know?
Yeah.
Well, I think Toby only cuts a throttle for a triple danger. I see one single danger and I'm full brakes, like on the binders, and I realize it's like a curb that you're just jumping off of. And then sometimes, but like you said, it's how they mark it, because sometimes one danger could be like a 2, or a 2 could be a 3, or a 2 could be a 1, and you're like, what? Why would they even waste their time? You know,
it's like the down arrows. Score. It's like, oh, there's 12 of them, and it's like nothing.
Yeah.
Well,
best
there's one, and there's one.
In a desert track.
That's just like what I'm talking about with the road book. Is you could have a different guy each day, or a different guy marking the segments, and you have to kind of figure out how that plays out. You know, and you got to kind of figure out the flavor. So that first segment, I'm sure, of every rally segment, you're trying to figure out the flavor of the road book, so to speak.
Yeah, for sure. That's it. Definitely. And it's. Yeah, sometimes a guy marks a danger 2 or a danger 3, and you could have been through there wide open and full gas. And it's so you're trying to adjust to that. Who marks the road book and does everything?
Do they tell you?
No, I don't usually find that out. I usually just start the stages and just see how they're starting to mark things out. But like I say, it's completely different again, because they're marking it in a course car, like a
stock
zero car, like a stock car,
stock car
doing 20-30 kilometers an hour,
a Land Rover or whatever.
And once they might go, okay, it looks like a danger 1 or maybe a danger 2, but they're only hitting it at 20-30 kilometers an hour. When you start adding another 100 odd kilometers an hour to that, it completely changes. It does spike and go to a danger 3, and it should have been in the road book as a danger 3, but. So it's always just inconsistent. You always.
Do they have a rider that rides it at some point before?
Nah, not really. I think they've tried it in the past, but most of the time in Dakar, they've never had a bike go through before us and ride it. So.
Do they send a car before you guys? Any days before?
So it's a zero car. I think goes 2 days prior to the course. Basically, just to do a last minute check and make sure no storms have came through and changed the track or something's
dangerous
appeared up something out of the blue. But it's full gas. Like you're basically just putting your life in somebody else's hands and hoping that they mark a road book.
It's kind of like what happened to Bryce when he crashed.
Yeah,
it could have been like a danger 1 to them.
Yep. Yeah,
but when you're in a 4-wheel drive,
when you're
doing 100 miles an hour or whatever it is, kilometers.
Yep.
It kicks
you. Well, that bump in a trophy truck is like
nothing. It's probably nothing.
Yeah. So
they marked in the trophy truck. That's what they did, right?
Pretty much.
No, it was a double danger, wasn't it?
It was a double danger.
It was a double danger,
but
we're just going to your point about how they mark it. It might not be that fast. You're doing it 3 times as fast.
It's exactly like that. Like you don't know how to mark it. So you've really just got to take the first 50 to 100 kilometers at a slow rate and just try and get a bit of a gauge on how they're doing things. But like I still say, our pace is really fast. We feel like we're going at a slower pace, we're still wedging them wide open. So it's
how fast does it go?
I think we topped at about 175.
What is that in miles per hour?
Kilometers an hour.
160 is 100.
Yeah, it's like 107, 108, somewhere around there.
That's fast.
On a heavy bike, on sand.
on a
Very
bike,
heavy
it's-
bike.
That doesn't stop.
You guys do an incredible job. I swear. I mean, it's one thing to do it in a car with a cage around you and to go to the speed you guys are doing, especially like you said, you can't pre-run and you're just going for it. The pace is so high now.
Yeah.
You're talking about you have to go 10/10.
Yeah.
You know, so it is incredible. My hat's off to you guys.
Yeah.
So
And I did want to say, I know Monster Energy Honda, Red Bull, KTM, that I look forward to the time, hopefully, and at some point where we all get to race against each other in the trophy trucks out here. You know, I know you guys are bike racing for a living right now, but it'll be fun, and we've already had some fun racing the TTs.
Yeah, no, it's been good. I've been lucky enough with Jesse to do some trophy truck racing and that, and Bryce and everything. So I think we made a pass on you there. One year there, and I'll bring that back up. That's my claim to fame for sure.
And
so,
you should. And
hell yeah, for sure. That's it. That's what it's all about.
Keep doing it.
Yeah, I've been. I don't know the number of times, maybe 7 times been passed total in the trophy truck.
That's not a lot.
Not a lot of times, but that was one of them. It was pretty cool. That 4-wheel drive accelerates like a mofo coming off that pavement in the dirt. Like we're trying to control the spin, and he's like, he's coming. I'm like, oh man.
So I was going to say something earlier, but Jesse rode with AJ before this race at San Felipe event in the 4-wheel drive trophy truck, and I bumped him.
Oh, look at that!
I was in the back. I just wanted to bring it up while I'm up here with this thing.
But you guys, the basis of Fishgistics is fun, loose, some facts, some not facts. Enjoy it, share it.
Opinion.
Thanks to KMC and Rigid for bringing this episode to you, and of course thanks to our place Baja HQ. If you want to do some aftermarket to your vehicle, come on down.
My truck's back there right now, getting my BFG tires and KMC wheels put on it, and leveling kit by Baja HQ. So come on down, boys and girls.
And we thank you guys. I mean, excellent panel. We had so many great guests today. Ending it up with these big hitters. Danny, I think that it's fair to say that we'll be seeing you in that podium more often, hopefully right behind us, but we're looking forward to seeing one more McMillin getting their first win. I think that would be very popular all around the industry.
Yeah, I think the 500 is going to be a good one. We got Andy up front, me 3rd, and Luke 5th, so we'll have...
And us 6th.
And you 6th,
Watch
and
out.
Ryan
And
2nd.
me 2nd.
And
Watch
Ryan
out.
2nd.
Watch out.
And I got some goals ahead of me too.
And Zach Langley in 4th, so it's going to be fun at the 500, and that's what the San Felipe was all about.
The pace at last year's 500
was fast.
Was the fastest I've ever raced trophy truck. And I was telling Cody, we got on the highway racing about 300, unofficially in the lead, whatever. And I told Cody, I'm like, there's no way all these trucks can go this fast for 500 miles. Everybody's truck, but ours did that.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, last year's 500 was real fast.
Last year's 500 was our turn to have a problem.
After we passed you when you broke, I mean the pace never missed a beat from that point on. It's not like we said, okay, now we'll settle into a pace at that point. Yeah. It kept that intensity all the way to the finish line.
Yeah, and I'm thinking the Baja 500 this year is going to have a similar feel.
I think so too.
Yeah. I'm excited to see where we go.
Yeah. Well, heal up well, boys. Look forward to seeing you guys back on your motos. Yep. See you guys next. I don't know. We'll see you at the Fink. Have a great race over there.
Yep.
Dan, we'll see you at the 500. Todd, what do you got coming up? Lots of testing.
Yeah, I'm always testing.
He's just chauffeuring me around.
Yeah.
So Todd's running a company called SDG now with
Suspension.
Jason Duncan.
Yep. Me and a friend of mine, Jason Duncan, started a company called Suspension Development Group year and a half ago. It was just for fun, out of the garage, and it's kind of gotten out of control, but it's good.
And you tune on every shock, every brand, anything, any suspension, no affiliation.
No. I mean, I prefer the Fox stuff just because I've dealt with it.
Right.
I worked there for so long, but I don't mind. They're all good product.
Right on. Well, we appreciate all you guys. Ryan, great job co-hosting. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank
Congratulations on the 2nd place.
I appreciate it,
That's
but we got to work on that too. It did, especially coming off our mint, which wasn't so good, unfortunately.
Which we didn't talk about.
I know. Chris, my navigator, is doing a hell of a lot better. He's still in rehab right now. Chris, if you're watching, we miss you. We want to get you back out, get you to the race shop, and get you work on that truck again. He's also the crew chief of my truck. He's got feeling back in his legs, which is awesome. And but he still has a long road ahead of him. He's determined. Absolutely determined to make sure he walks out of that rehab place, and by the end of this month, he's going to be doing that. So, which is awesome. So I want to say hi to him and his wife Kristen. We love you guys, and we want you back soon.
Right on. Remember, no matter where you guys off-road, do it safely, have fun, do it respectfully, and we look forward to seeing you guys at the next race and at the next Fishgistics show when we come to you probably before the Baja 500. Is that what we're going to do? Fish says yes, probably before the 500. So big shock at everybody. Have a great day. Share it. Have fun in life and be a good person. Bye.